This is the Databricks Data Engineer podcast. You've heard two completely opposite stories about the Databricks job market in 2026, and both are true. By the end of this, you'll know which one your resume is sitting in and what it costs to move. One engineer tells you hiring is back and recruiters are warm again. The next is 60 applications deep and hearing nothing. Same month, same platform, sometimes the same city. For a while, I read that as noise. It isn't noise, it's a split. Picture two engineers. I'll call them Sam and Kate. Both mid-level, 4 years in. Autoloader ingestion, a bronze, silver, gold stack, delta tables, dashboards on the end. Sam does the thing you're supposed to do. Puts Databricks Data Engineer at the top of the resume. Lists the platform, Spark, Python, SQL. Then applies to every posting with the word Databricks in it. 40 in a week. You've seen the counter under those postings. Over 100 already, before lunch. 2 screens, out of 40. Both go quiet after the second conversation. Sound familiar? Kate applies to far fewer roles, but almost everyone has a second thing attached. Governance, cost, the data side of a machine learning platform, feature tables, freshness, the model team waiting on her, same stack as Sam, same level, and her response rate isn't a little better. It's a different sport. Now, I made these two up, and there are other readings. Maybe somebody referred her. Maybe she only applied where she genuinely fit. But the shape keeps turning up, so here's what I think sits under it. 3 things changed, and they all point one direction. Change 1. The generic version of this job got cheap to describe and cheap to apply for. Code assistants got good enough that the first draft of a standard pipeline stopped being the hard part. Not the whole job, the first draft, so the easiest part of the job to write down is now the least scarce. And applying got cheap too. Tailoring a resume used to cost an evening. Now it costs minutes. So the white posting collects a stack. Not because the applicants are weak. Sam isn't losing to better engineers. Sam is losing to volume. Change 2. Requisitions stopped being headcount and started being problems. More of them now arrive with a specific pain attached. An audit deadline somebody put in writing. A bill that doubled after everything moved to serverless. A machine learning team that can't get clean features, and is saying so in the wrong meeting. The hiring manager isn't shopping for a data engineer. They're shopping for whoever makes that one thing stop hurting. And the pain is usually buried a few bullets down, dressed up as a nice to have. Change 3. The title stopped filtering much. Databricks Data Engineer now covers at least 4 different jobs. Whoever owns Unity Catalog and the access model. Whoever owns the bill and decides where workloads run. Whoever feeds a machine learning platform. And whoever builds the pipelines. So where did the signal go? Out of the title and into the pairing. Think of it as 2 lanes on the same road. The near lane is where everyone merged, because it's marked with the title everyone has. It moves the way a crowded lane moves. Creep, stop, creep. The other lane carries a fraction of the traffic, not because it goes somewhere worse, because getting into it asks for something the near lane doesn't. A second thing you can prove. I call those two the crowded lane and the thin lane. Now here's the part that sounds wrong. The thin lane has fewer postings in it. Fewer. And it's still the better market for you. How does that work? You're probably thinking that's backwards. More postings means more chances. It doesn't though. Your odds aren't set by how many doors exist. They're set by how many people are at the door with you and whether you belong there. 20 postings with a handful of real candidates beats 400 with a stack behind everyone. As long as you're one of the real ones. That second half is the whole job. And some of you are already thinking, fine, but I don't have a specialization, so this is for other people. Stay with me. You don't move lanes by starting over. You move by naming the thing you already do that nobody gave you credit for. One caution, because this is the exact spot where it goes wrong. Naming the thing gets you the conversation. It doesn't get you through the conversation. Whoever is hiring for that pain lives with it. They'll go 3 questions past your headline. So pick the thing you can still hold at question 3. If nothing clears that bar yet, you're not picking a headline this month. You're picking what to go get. So here's my call. There is no such thing as the Databricks job market in 2026. There are 2 running at different speeds, and what sorts you between them isn't your skill level. It's whether anyone can tell what you'd fix. If you're a senior, this can be the strongest hand you've held in a while, on one condition, that you're legible. Senior plus builds pipelines is a crowded lane resume with a bigger number on it. Senior plus ran the Unity catalog migration when the audit was real is a thin lane resume. That pool is small enough to be searched, not just applied to. If you're mid-level, this is where the split does the most damage, and where it's most fixable. So what's missing? Not the years, you have those. What you don't have yet is a claim. If you're early career, I'll be straight with you. Entry roles live in the crowded lane, and it's the most crowded it has been in years. Your move isn't to invent a specialization you can't back up. It's to pick the surface you can say something specific about in 18 months, and start collecting evidence now. And if you're already in a seat, the fastest way in is the job nobody on your team wants. The cost review nobody runs. The permissions cleanup that's been in the backlog a year. Nobody competes for those, and they sit on the pains we just walked through. That's a claim in 6 months instead of 18. Now, the strongest argument against all of that. It's a good one, so let me give it properly. The thin lane can be a trap. Specialize into the wrong surface, and you've traded a crowded market for one you could list on a single screen. Tie yourself too tightly to one thing, and you go out of fashion with it. And the generalist who can be dropped into anything is what a smaller company needs. They do a lot of the hiring. All of that is true. So why doesn't it change the call? Because the move is pair, don't switch. You're not leaving data engineering to become a governance person. Your Databricks core is the trunk. The pairing is a branch. And the branches that hold weight share one property. Somebody already has a budget line for that pain. Governance because audits come with dates. Cost because finance asks about the bill every month. Machine learning data because somebody promised a model to somebody else. So the refined call. The thin lane is safer as long as your pairing sits on a pain somebody pays for. Enough analysis. Here's what to do. First, this week, read your last 10 applications the way the hiring manager did. Top third of the page, one scroll of attention. What problem do they picture you solving? If the honest answer is building pipelines, you're in the crowded lane. No amount of volume gets you out. Second, still this week, go through your last 2 years and find the thing nobody wrote down. The permission model you untangled. The job you rewrote after the bill spiked. The feature table you fixed the night before a demo. One of those is your claim. It's already in your history. It's just not in your headline. Third, this quarter, make the claim provable in one sentence with an outcome on it. Not experienced with Unity catalog. Closer to rebuild the access model for our workspaces during the Hive Metastore migration, so the audit stopped being a fire drill. Same underlying work as the keyword version, but the second one is a claim, and claims get questions, so size it to what you actually owned. The sentence you can defend to the last word beats the grander one you can't. One is a keyword, the other is a reason to pick up the phone. One diagnostic question to walk out with. If a hiring manager read your resume out loud to their team, what would the next sentence be? If it's another Databricks person, you know which lane you're in. If it's, this is the one who could fix our access mess before the audit, you're in the other one. That's what I've got for you today. The market isn't good or bad this year. It's split. And it doesn't sort by talent, which is infuriating and also useful. A sorting rule you can see is one you can act on. This read holds while the two lanes stay this far apart. If the generalist pool thins out, or the pairings I named get commoditized the way pipeline work did, the calculus shifts. Give it 6 months before another look. And I'd rather you argue with my specifics than with the shape. The shape is the part I am confident about. If this landed, send it to the engineer you know who's 60 applications deep and hearing nothing back. They don't need to work harder. They need to change lanes. See you next time.